I just want to encourage people to really think about something outside of themselves. Could you imagine what would the world look like if even half of the people thought about using their gifts and their talents and their stories to help one person, just one other person? Welcome to Lead Like a Girl, where we are empowering everyday women through our stories. I'm your host, Jessica Smith, and I began this journey by sharing my life story. Now, I've joined forces with my longtime friends, Jamie and Coralyn, to keep this party going. We met many years ago as young sales girls in our 20s, driven and quickly rising to the top of our industry. As the years went on, life happened, and we all found ourselves in new companies and completely different industries, still striving for success in it all. Career, family, faith, fun. Now, it wasn't easy, but we never stopped moving. Get ready for our real conversations, inspiring stories, and our big life lessons as we share it all. The good, the bad, and the funny. Welcome to Lead Like a Girl. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Lead Like a Girl. I want to start today with something that honestly just like stopped me in my tracks when I heard it. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this before, but our pastor said it the other day, and it really got me thinking. And he said the two most important days of your life are the day you are born and the day you figure out why. And that question has been like sitting with me. And I've thought about this before, but it was just kind of like a reminder. Like, are we actually living in our why, or are we just busy living? So
it's easy to take that in a spiritual sense, but I also feel if you're not a spiritual person, this is something to think on for everyday life too. Are you doing what you were meant to do now, regardless of anything?
yeah. Yeah. And this, and I talk about this a lot. And in my previous life, almost 20 years, and it's just like crazy when I think about it, almost 20 years that I spent really like with my head down, just grinding, like working, building a career, making money, taking care of my kids. And listen, those things matter, right? They do. I'm not going to say they don't matter, but if I'm being honest, like I really thought that that was success, that that was winning in life, that I made it. It was about me and it was about family. And, I was in this world of my own. And did I do things for other people or did I help others? Sure. But it was usually the people that were around me in my little circle. And I think that for me, it was maybe 10 years ago, something really changed. And I started to realize that it's not just about me. So it's not just about me. It's not just about my family. Like God gave me gifts. And like to your point, Coralyn, it doesn't matter what your belief is. We don't have to make it spiritual. But for me, like he brought me through a lot. And he blessed me in many ways. And I just started asking myself, like, what am I doing with everything that he gave me for other people? So I want to jump right in this, but I want to start off by just asking you, and you guys can jump in. I'm just going to say the question. You can jump in. If you had to describe your why in one sentence right now, what would it be?
My why for my life's purpose? Is that your
Yeah.
question?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say coaching and mentoring.
Okay.
I have some more, but I'll wait.
Core, if you had to.
Oh man, Jess.
Wait, I always do this. I'm gonna switch it up on you.
Oh gosh.
Okay. What's one gift that you have that you know because people always come to you for this?
A gift that I have is speaking, and where people come to me is asking to speak on a specific topic or advice on how to command an audience better, and stage presence and communication and those types of questions.
Okay. And the reason I asked that question like that, because I think that when you think about what people always come to you for, that's kind of how you sometimes uncover what your gifts are, right? Because it's not coincidental
Mm-hmm.
that people are
Mm-hmm.
coming to you asking for this thing. And this is for both of you. Have you ever had, or maybe when, if you have had that moment where you thought there has to be more to life than this? Like, when was that? Like, what age? What was it where you were like,
Yesterday.
tell,
Hey,
tell me
can
more.
I let Coralyn go first on this one?
Let's hear it.
Yesterday.
No, I think that, I don't know. I think in the last, I don't know, the last couple of years, this has been on my heart and in my thoughts frequently. Like, just what am I showing up for? And I think that it has to do, if you listen to our last episode about, am I getting too old for this, like XYZ? I think that as you get older, you're wondering, how am I spending my time? And is it the most productive? Is it the most meaningful? Like all the things, because as we get older, we start, it just, the way life works is that you have less and less time. And so, like, am I using the time that I've been blessed with in the best way possible and doing the things I was made for?
Yeah.
And so I think it's always a conversation. And I just sometimes feel like if you're stumbling through, then I just need to take a pause and just think of, okay, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Just have a conversation with the people that are in my circle.
Yeah. Yeah. Jamie, have you had that moment?
Where, say the question again.
The moment where you just, you know, think to yourself, there has to be more than this, whatever I'm doing. Like, there's got to be more to it.
I think that was, I have had that moment, and it wasn't necessarily professional. It was more in a relationship where it
Hmm.
was like, is this it? Like,
Is this-
is this the rest of my life? And some of that was in the particular one, I lived in a different state, and it was like, huh, is this going to be the rest of my life? Like, am I really, this is what I've chosen and decided, and this is what I'm going to keep forever? But I do think that I've been in positions in my professional career as well where I kind of like got to the top of where I could go, and you can't go any farther. So is this it? Is this the rest of my life? If I stay at this career, if I, stay at this relationship, if I stay at this, in this house, if I stay, whatever, like, is this all I have?
No, I like that you went there because it's not just about your career, or it is sometimes relationships. And I think that's, and maybe this is one of those, midlife things. I don't know, but I've thought about it over the last few years, and it's now the voice is just getting louder and louder when it comes to, is this it? And I hope in this conversation that we really encourage other people that are having those thoughts to actually take action, because you don't have to stay in the job, in the relationship, in the home, in the thing, or whatever. You don't. It's, if you're thinking, is this it? There's probably something else. And I think
I
a lot
wonder too, I mean to interrupt you, but I'm going to, because that's what I do.
of and I'm good with it. Let's
But
go.
I kind of wonder, if do you think that this has, Jamie, do you think living in a state that has four seasons, do you think you see this more often? I feel like every year I come up of like, it's springtime. Now I've got a list of spring things that I have to do that I do every spring in terms of clean up leaves and put mulch down and plant flowers and all these different things. And so I have a couple weekends that I feel like are dictated to that. You roll around to summer, there's things that need to happen during summertime, or like you go into prep for fall. And like, I feel like there's a lot of house maintenance things that are just, and then you talk about throwing your kids sports into there. Well, there's fall sports, and then there's specific winter sports, and all, it's just all these different things, the seasonality of life. And an area that I'm thinking on is that it just seems very repetitive, very mundane at sometimes, like where it's like, is this what I'm going to be doing the next 10 years from now? Every April I'm going to be spreading mulch down. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I do know what you mean. And I think that part of it is when you're in the throes of it, you're in the middle of, let's say this season is 5 years long or whatever. When you're in the throes of that season, yeah, you absolutely are thinking, like, is this the rest of my life? Like every April I have to do this, but it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know it yet because it's hard to visualize what it's going to be in the future, right? So like 2-3 years from now, things are going to be completely different. And you might have a gardener. Who the hell knows? You know what I mean?
Can't you pay somebody to do this mulching situation? That's what my mom says. Like, can't you
And I know you talk about
pay
like,
somebody to clean your toilets for you? And I'm like, I guess I could.
and you're
One
talking
day.
about like gardening or outside stuff, but at the same point, I think it's true in no matter what. Like you're in a certain quote unquote season and you don't know what the future is going to be, but it is going to be different because it has to be different. I mean, if it's not going to get different, you're going to make it different because you're going to get bored.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Well, it's
and
so funny, even just to nip this gardening thing in the bud. But like, literally. But I even just I've lived in this house for 5 years, right? And it seems like every April I'm like, okay, I did not like doing this thing. So how can I rechange the landscape so that I either don't have to do this anymore, or whatever is growing there, it brings me joy. Like I have tons of hostas, and now I'm like, okay, well, why don't we just change these hostas into flowers? So then I'm excited for them to come out of the ground, so they're just not green and boring. It actually adds a little variety. So to
yeah.
your point, it's coming.
I
Yeah.
mean, hostas have flowers too, but whatever.
Well,
Some of
and
them.
I love that you're talking about your house and your garden because, and I feel like we all like, there's a lot of things that we have to focus on around our house and our family and our yard. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Let me just say that. We're building our homes, we're building stability, we're trying to survive, we're creating something for our families. But somewhere along the way, you either stay there or I feel like something wakes up inside of us where we're like, okay, what else is out there outside of me and mine and ours? So, what woke you up? A lot of people find that, oh, well, I'm going to use myself as an example. Again, that moment where I'm like, God has done so much for me. He has blessed me. I've made it through a lot of things. I want to be intentional. I don't want to just spend every weekend cleaning my house and doing my chores. And where can I serve other people? And that sound, that voice is getting louder and louder for me. And it's like, how do you prioritize other people outside of yourself in these
Mm-hmm.
seasons? Like, how could we do that?
I um I just want to say, like, I think that you have to almost get to a certain stage in your life before that's a possibility. And disagree with me if you want, but I'll share an example. My daughter went to school to be a social worker, couldn't really find a position. So she's working at a data center construction site right now as a quote unquote helper. And she's there. She said some days I sweep up cigarette butts, and some days I take out the garbage, and some days I help the quality guy. Like it's literally she's doing whatever. It has nothing to do with her major. But she didn't have a job for like a year. So she's like, I'm like, just get a job. So
Yeah.
she got a job. She gets paid. She probably makes almost what I make, truthfully. Like it is insane what she gets paid.
Yeah.
And she saved up $12,000, put it towards a car, and her goal is to pay the rest of the car off within the next 5 months. But she also said, I come home on Friday and I work all the time. I work 50, 60 hours a week. I come home, I don't have time to do anything. On Saturdays, I clean my house, clean my car, do my laundry, get my grocery shopping, whatever. On Sundays, she visits this elderly man who's my mom used to clean for, and he's lonely, and so she spends half the day with him. So anyway, she's like, I don't have time to do anything else in my life but this. And when you think about that, I'm like, okay, do that for like, and this is not a job that's going to last forever. They're going to build these data centers and then they're going to move on. So she might have this job for 5 years. So I'm like, do the job for 5 years. Just suck it up and do the job for 5 years and save money and pay off your stuff and whatever. And then after that, then you're free. Like after that, you can get back to where you had, what you had your degree in. And then you have a chance to get back to what maybe is more important to you, maybe is more of your calling. But I think there are seasons in your life where you have to kind of do that. You have to like take advantage of the situation you're in for a little bit, even though it kind of does suck, in order to move on to the next step, which is maybe what your goals are more aligned with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but even in your example, and this is my point, she's still finding time to do something outside of herself. I think for me, success, I feel it distracted me from my purpose. And that was my question.
Really?
Do you think that success can distract us from our purpose?
Mm.
Well, I think that if I were to answer your first question, rewind all the way back to the beginning that you gave to Jamie instead of me about
Oh God.
I think that until I really could out loud say my purpose here is to love and serve God and use my talents that he gave me to serve other people, which is basically what you just said. I was searching for what am I supposed to do? And until I could take a step back and say that is what you're supposed to do, is to point people to their purpose and to why they're so if I can help people learn what their purpose is. But I also think a little bit is your purpose. So like for your daughter, Jamie, like we just don't just decide a little bit like what your purpose is. Like
Right.
you grow into it and you lean into the things that bring you joy and hopefully lean away from things that don't. And that as we grow and define who we are as people, you step into your purpose, right?
Well, and you can be so busy that you don't recognize your purpose.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's kind of distraction. But so let's talk about this since you're kind of talking about discovering your purpose, because I think people hear purpose or gifts and they think of something that's like huge, like some major, talent, but it's actually simpler than that, right? Your gifts,
Mhm.
what comes natural to you. Like I said earlier, what people ask you for, your story, what you've been through, that's part of your gifts, right?
Mhm.
But you got to live a little bit to, I think,
Mhm.
Amy's point, or Coralyn's point, you got to live a little bit to really understand what that is. But so people that are listening, that maybe they're asking that question, like, how do I discover my gifts? What do you guys think? What can you tell them? How do I do that?
Sometimes you have to pay attention to the things that naturally happen. We joke about it here at the household, but I have several new friends, with the new being within the last few years, where we might hang out one time and I'll come home and tell Brad, I know every single thing about her marriage, her life, her job, her kids, her whatever. I know all the things because they just unload. It's just, they just tell me things. Um, the other day when I was at the airport, I just happened to be, I was in Chicago and I had to get a Chicago hot dog because it's my favorite thing in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there eating this, and this girl sits next to me. And by the end of the 20-minute conversation, I knew her entire cancer journey. I knew her wife's name. I knew what she did for a living. I knew, she just and so we joke about it here, but I'm like, I don't know why everyone just tells me every single thing about their life. But when I think about it in terms of what you're talking about, maybe I should pay attention to that when maybe my next career or my next journey should have something to do with listening to people and letting and getting them to open up or letting them open up to me. So I think that's a little bit of it. We have to pay a little bit closer attention to how people react to us, the situations we end up often getting ourselves in. You know what I mean? Where it's like, why am I always in the same situation? You know what? That's because that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be in that situation.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be your career too, Jamie.
No. Your calling, your anything. Just like if you happen to find yourself in that same situation over and over and over again, you're supposed to be there.
Right. That's what you're supposed to be doing. And like I said, I just want to encourage people to really think about something outside of themselves. Could you imagine what would the world look like if even half of the people thought about using their gifts and their talents and their stories to help one person, just one other person? It's just like, and again, I don't think it makes people bad people because I was that person for 20 years. That's 2 decades that I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was a good person because I was a hard worker and I made a lot of money and I helped people in need, but they'd have to be standing right under my nose for me to know that they were in need and for me to help them as opposed to being intentional. Coralyn, what would you tell people to say? Like, how do I know what my gifts are? How am I even supposed to figure that out?
I think when you were talking before about leaning into your work, I think the thing that we miss is the meaning behind it. Our CEO always says this, and it's not like a quote. It's like his quote. It's his mantra. But he's like, when God blesses us, He always has other people in mind. And so if we take that on as a personal mantra of like, okay, I have all these blessings, I have these skills, I have these talents. How am I going to use them to push somebody else forward? And when you push other people forward, you naturally lean into that, and you are bringing yourself along forward as well.
Yeah.
But I would agree with Jamie is that how many times we think, what are the things that I am good at, and it's oftentimes the compliments that you receive, the things that you're working on that might seem mundane at the time, but you can whiz through it in like tomorrow.
Yeah. What do
I
you
also feel like the other
Yeah, I'm sorry. What are
yeah.
you constantly being reminded of? What are people always telling you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had to throw that
Yeah,
in.
but yeah, and like those types of things. But I also, I have a girl that has like come to me for a little bit of mentoring and just trying to walk through what her next steps are. And we just sat down, and there's a couple different personality tests, and she had never taken anything like that or like an inventory of what her gifts and talents are. But the Strength Finders analysis is awesome. There is one by Giant Worldwide that tells you what your like core like your core belief system is.
Mhm.
There are like job placement thing. I mean, there's a lot of different things where you can look at and say, hey, here are the things. If you don't know this based on your personality and the things you lean towards, and I would say above everything else is slow down and ask God to show you what your gifts and talents are. And if you ask Him, they will show up, and you just have to slow down and pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we overcomplicate this idea of, making a difference in the world. You hear that and it sounds so big and so grand, right? Like I can't make a difference in the world. And it's like, no, you can. Maybe you can't change the whole world, but just change one person right?
Yeah,
Change
like
someone.
who are we trying to change here? I mean, are we trying to do like 6 billion people, or just the 6 people that are in your
Yeah.
circle of influence?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the one, you know, just
Yeah.
the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
because what happens, I feel like once you help the one, then there's another person that comes into play. And then after that person, and sometimes it's simultaneous, but a lot of times it's just keep your eyes open for things, and people will gravitate towards you.
yeah. And I'm glad you said it like that because, again, some people, everybody has their own belief system. And I'm, you know, definitely respectful of that. But I hear sometimes people are like, oh, the universe, like, call it whatever you want to call it. But, show up. And when you do that, you'll, like you said, you'll naturally, those people will show up. There's people that need encouragement, there's people that need mentoring, right? Be intentional. You don't have to be a leader at your job to be a leader. Be intentional in what I like to call the marketplace. You know, you don't have to belong to a church to serve. There's plenty of opportunity. I guarantee you, I don't care how nice your neighborhood is, there is someone in need that you can be serving in your community. And so I just, want to encourage people to just start thinking about that because I like the way you said that. It's like, how did you say it, Coralyn? That it's not, the blessings are not for you or they're for others. Every
What do you-
I totally messed it
When
up.
you receive a blessing, God often has other people in mind.
Yeah, there you go. That part. So, but here's the thing. We talk about this all the time. All the stuff that we have on our plates, we're all so busy. We all have work. We all have kids. We all have responsibilities. Life is happening. So, how do we actually do this without feeling overwhelmed? And I know that you two, one of the things that I love about both of you is that you do this so well in terms of serving. Like, how do we do this with all of the stuff?
I think you can start off with just asking a different question. I think we're conditioned to like, what do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? What do I want to get done? Like, ask those questions. Well, if you reframe it into like, who can I help? How can I serve? And just look at it in a different way of how can I be not helped, or how can I get what I want, but how can I be helpful, is a great starting point of leaning into your purpose.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. When I was in a dark place of, in this job market, really not understanding why in the heck am I not landing a job as great as I am. And I the moment I took the focus off of myself and really started like going really hard on serving and helping other people. And what's funny is a lot of the serving and helping people was helping people with interview prep and finding a job and all these things. And of course, there was this voice in my head. It's like, how are you helping them find a job and you can't even find your own job? That's a lie. That's a lie. And I kept doing it and it helped me so much. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would say two things. One, um, all you got to do is pay attention and be curious. You really
Mhm.
don't have to look very far to serve people. Just pay attention and be curious.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you'll find yourself in situations where you can help people. And everybody's going through something. I used to have a pastor that said, if you're not going through something, keep on living. It's coming. And so the moment you see yourself in those seasons, you see it. We always see it coming, right? When you see it coming, really go hard in finding and being intentional about helping other people. And I promise you, whatever that season is, it will be a little easier when you just immerse yourself into helping others.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Jamie? How can we do this?
I'm I'm going back to your question of like when people ask you for help and how to determine where you're going to spend your time, a little bit, your capacity. And really, it's being strategic and efficient, right? So you could spend weeks training one person, you could spend months coming up with something for a group, but when you actually get down to it and you figure out, okay, what's important right now? Like, who is the person who needs me or needs some guidance or needs whatever it is from you? Setting up, taking the time to set up a strategy to help them accomplish what they need to accomplish is efficient, correct? Like, you're not spreading yourself, it's not spreading yourself really thin to a big group. It's picking this one situation, maybe that's one person, maybe it's a small group, whatever, and being really strategic about, okay, what do you need from me? How can I lead you and help you today? I every time you talk about it, I keep going back to those two words, strategic and efficient.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. Well, here, I've learned this, like, you don't have to do everything, but you do have to do something, right? And
We don't have to, but we should.
no, I think, no,
We have to.
I think you have to.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm telling. Otherwise, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing here? You're just picking up air.
What are you doing with your life?
I mean, it is a have to. It is a have to.
Yeah,
Okay.
I really do.
I stand
Because
corrected.
you're making it harder on yourself. And again, I learned this myself, which is why I'm so passionate about sharing it. And when you start showing up that way, everything changes. Even if there's somebody out there who's like, "Oh, I'm good," it can be better. I promise you, it can be better. So I want to leave our listeners with something practical, and I think we've all given them something that they can leave with, and that's just doing that one thing. And I know that there are people that feel like we talked about, like there has to be more. And you're right, there is. If you've been thinking that, then you're right here listening for a reason. And I hope you share this with someone else. You're right, there is. And you were created with a purpose, on purpose. And everything that you've been given, your experience, your gifts, your talent, your story, it's not just for you. It's not just for your kids. It's not just for your family. It's for many other people that you may not have even been thinking about. So it's about just asking one simple question. What can I do with what I've been given to make someone else better? We talked about this before, right? Just making the room better, a little better, just a little better than it was when we walked.
A little bit better.
So I hope that this week, everyone could take the time to just reflect. What is your why? Think about one gift that you have, and use it for someone else. Like I said, be curious, pay attention, and if this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who needs it. Because like I said, even just one person, when I get a message on LinkedIn, or when I get a message, someone comes in one of our social medias, and I mean, we all get really excited. Like, seriously, we go in our little group chat and we get so excited because one person, we don't need to change the world. Like, just one person that I listened to an episode, it really made a difference. It really made me think about something. That's all we're here to do. And then hang out with each other at the same time. So we love you guys, and we love doing this. And thank you for joining us. Subscribe, Lead Like a Girl Lab on YouTube, our website, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, all the things. And don't forget, if you missed it on the last episode, we're giving away Lead Like a Girl trucker hats.
Heck yeah.
Jamie, do you still have those handy so you can show them? If you're on YouTube, if you're not and you're listening,
They're so
log
cute.
into YouTube and find Lead Like a Girl Lab so that you can see.
It's
Really, and that is a super cute color for the summer. So you need this for your summer wear. So we're out until next time. See you later.